On the Tanyuan continent, your right to exist is entirely determined by a single metric, your cultivation tier. It's a universe structured like a massive, impenetrable pyramid, where magical power is ruthlessly hoarded at the top. Progression here follows strict, linear rules. You gain strength through decades of grueling, incremental training. If you're weak, you are actively suppressed by the elite, making upward mobility mathematically impossible for the masses stuck at the bottom. This brings us to Zhou Ping. He is a social outcast, permanently marooned at the absolute lowest rank a cultivator can hold, Level 2 body refining. He is the definition of a zero-yield asset in this world. To finalize his marginalization, the local ruling family forces him into an arranged marriage with a woman named Xueling Yuan. She is an exiled, physically broken former noble, whom society has completely discarded. In an economy strictly defined by the hoarding of resources, pairing a zero-level failure with a disgraced exile is an intentional death sentence. Statistically, Zhou and his new wife are designed to quietly fail and die at the bottom of the ladder. But Zhou discovers a glitch in reality. The moment he signs the marriage contract, he activates a hidden partner cultivation mission. Any item Zhou gifts his partner acts as an input node, bouncing back with a massive multiplier. He tests this by gifting cheap weeds. Instantly, the system triggers an extreme output, returning the heaven-scorching manual and the legendary life force pill. Zhou has discovered a way to render the traditional path to power obsolete. He is no longer competing in the linear world. He is operating on an exponential curve, where every sacrifice yields an immediate, massive profit. With his first massive payout in hand, Zhou immediately reinvests. Instead of consuming the life force creation pill himself, he feeds it back to his wife. This triggers a hidden asset. The top-tier pill repairs her shattered meridians and restores her supreme bone, a rare physiological trait, revealing that she is secretly an exiled divine lord from a powerful palace. Because he healed a divine entity, the system calculates an enormous multiplier. This graph illustrates the scale of the transaction. The tiny input bar represents the life force pill, which is completely dwarfed by the return, an output called the Immortal Emperor Bone. The Immortal Emperor Bone is a piece of god-tier biological hardware that permanently fuses with Zhou's own body, granting him near-absolute physical invulnerability and a terrifying reserve of magical power. By treating a discarded, broken outcast as a high-yield investment, Zhou acquires the ultimate physical upgrade. He has secured the exact type of power that typically requires a lifetime of elite training without doing a single push-up. To test if this mechanic scales, Zhou targets a new partner, his impoverished, struggling master at the declining ethereal sect. The math holds up perfectly. He gives her a meager 60 spirit stones and a mid-tier weapon. Seconds later, the system kicks back 600 spirit stones and a top-tier celestial artifact. Zhou leverages these gains to master the continent's markets. He uses a 7-colored alchemy furnace, a previous system reward, to synthesize a rare power pill. His Emperor Bone allows him to instantly grasp complex alchemy manuals, turning a process that takes decades for others into a single afternoon of work. He flips these newly minted kells on the market for an astounding 600,000 spirit stones. Armed with this liquid capital, a supposed level 2 weakling marches into the exclusive Tan Yuan auction and financially humiliates the ruling Dragon Clan prince by effortlessly outbidding him. Through deliberate, continuous reinvestment, Zhou has scaled his outputs with precision. In a matter of days, he turned a handful of basic weeds into market-breaking wealth and legendary weapons. This rapid accumulation of wealth and power triggers a hostile response. The continent's absolute elites, the royal family and the Dragon Clan, launch a coordinated attack to assassinate Zhou and reclaim his wife's restored abilities. These elites are operating entirely on the old rulebook. They spent generations hoarding resources to build their strength at a painfully slow, linear pace. To them, the matchup seems hilariously one-sided. According to official records, Zhou is still classified as a helpless level 2 body refiner, the lowest rung on the continent's ladder. But Zhou simply unleashes his compounded arsenal. He draws a mysterious, no-level sword, a weapon unbound by traditional ranking metrics, and relies on the absolute invulnerability of his emperor bone to absorb their attacks completely unscathed. The ruling class was mathematically doomed from the moment they engaged. Decades of linear progression simply cannot compete with an exponentially scaled portfolio. With a single effortless strike of his sword, Zhou slaughters the royal family's strongest champions, instantly shattering the continent's most ancient and terrifying authority. But instead of seizing the empty throne and ruling as the new emperor, he subverts the expected conqueror narrative. He simply goes back to his local sect and freely distributes his premium, ultra-rare pills to the rest of his clan. In this new model, rapid distribution is the most efficient path to dominance. By pushing high-level resources down to his peers, Zhou triggers a feedback loop that yields more power than he could ever harvest by hoarding it himself. The old hierarchy, built on the slow accumulation of stolen power, cannot survive in a world where giving a resource away returns 100 times its value. Zhou didn't just defeat the system, he replaced it with an economy where the most efficient way to gain is to give.